Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here today. My name is Teresa Agustinelli, and I'm one of the Programming and Outreach Specialists at LibraryLinkNJ. My pronouns are she, her. It's my pleasure to welcome you today again to the Lights, Camera, Action webinar, which is co-sponsored by the LibraryLinkNJ and the NJLA reference section. COVID-19 has forced many of us to become accidental videographers, and online programming looks like it might be here to stay. In this webinar, you will learn video production tips from a youth services department head who conducts virtual story times, an adult programming librarian who produces online adult programs and podcasts, and an adult YA department head who will be sharing the ins and outs of using OBS, free and open source software for video recording and live streaming. Please mute your microphone if you are not a presenter, and please feel free to share your comments and resources in the chat window. At this point, I'll be introducing our first speaker, Melissa Hozik. So our three speakers are Melissa Hozik, Karen Jarzabski, and Andrew Eason. Melissa Hozik is the adult programming librarian at the East Brunswick Public Library. Her pronouns are she, her, they, them. Melissa Hozik, the adult programming librarian at the East Brunswick Public Library, during the pandemic, Melissa helped EBPL shift quickly to virtual programming. From Zoom to multi-platform live streaming to podcasting, she experiments and researches ways to reach adults wherever they may be. She created multi-library programming for the first time at EBPL by breaking from physical walls that separated our library's communities. And I'm going to hand things over now to Melissa. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for choosing to spend your morning with us. As you know, you have limited time, so we appreciate you coming today. So this presentation and series, there's going to be a lot to cover, and you can have your questions at the end. Also, subtitles are available. You can click on more and show subtitles if they are helpful to you. Please note that they are automated and they might say some things that are not quite accurate, but we just want to offer that to you. So today I'm going to be talking about online programming and video production tips, but I'm specifically going to talk about upping your visual and audio gain and making it a little bit clearer now that we've been playing with this in the pandemic a little bit longer. I'll be talking about video, audio, the multi-library online programming that was mentioned in my introduction, and some tips of if you hate to be on camera or do live programming, which I know is many of us. So lights, camera, action. I'm going to follow in that order with a few little differences. So lighting is extremely important. We might think that's something silly and we've learned it, but it really makes a higher quality video, especially if you are going to be recording it and having it as a relay on a YouTube channel, keeping it archived on Facebook, Twitch, whatever platform you are using. It doesn't have to be expensive. Anything that has a gooseneck where you can bend it around is really good because you'll be able to have light directly on the front of your face. I actually have one on front of me. I'll show you some examples. But so it can be a cheap thing that clamps onto a desk or a flat surface. It could be like the one here on the screen where it's just like a floor lamp or not, but having the gooseneck to bend it around will help you make your lighting options a little bit easier. I'm going from basically the most inexpensive to the little bit more, so you have an idea of what the range of things are. Not everyone has a budget. I'm very lucky that our Friends of the Library does give me a budget every year where I've been able to utilize it. So ring lights, which we may have seen everyone using, whether selfies or in all sorts of ways, they're not too expensive. The one that I've chosen to use for the library is the center one here. It's checkmarked. It is clipped, and actually the webcam or your phone clamps onto it. So you can have the lights exactly where you want because they're on gooseneck, and you can move your camera around, which, as you know, sometimes things aren't level in the spaces that you're working at. So you can compensate as needed. And what I use today, and I'll be using in my photo examples in a moment, is a dimmable light panel. These are more what videographers do use. I like it because I don't see the ring lights in my glasses, which started to really bother me when I was doing recording. So I decided that a dimmable pattern panel was better for me. So lighting in action. I was going to play with my lighting, but then I know when you're doing things live, there'll be live demos later. Not my strong suit when I'm changing camera settings. So I have 3 examples of lighting here in the space that I use, which is actually the corner of my living room. The first image is natural light. That's what the light looks like in my corner. Remember when we all started the beginning of the pandemic and all of our presentations looked a little, we all started from somewhere, and looking back can be somewhat traumatic for some of us, but also shows how far we've come. So that's the natural light in my house. It's not great. So this is an example. The center is a front light with my dimmable panel that I'm actually using right now. So you can get an idea. I'm a little bit more bright. The contrast's a little bit better. And then the third one is two lights. When you have the cheaper goosenecks or other lights, having a second light helps balance them out if they're too bright, and you look a little bit better three-dimensionally on a two-dimensional option. But I usually don't use that second panel because it turns off usually after 45 minutes and suddenly I'm dark, and consistent video is helpful. I also have chosen to use a static background that is not just like, there's 1970s wood paneling behind me. It's not pretty. This is a $10 fabric backdrop that I've clipped up. I personally don't like green screen because I always see it cutting around my head, or if I have headphones on, I see a gap, but it's also an option as well. So cameras, this is where we've learned is the next thing, that if it's a little bit better quality camera, you do see the difference in video production. Most of us use our built-in camera on our device. That's completely fine. But if you have other options, that's usually something you want to think about. Then we have these things that many of us have called cell phones, specifically smartphones that most of us carry in our pocket. There are apps and ways to actually make this your main camera. For those of us who did a lot of DIY during the pandemic, we learned that we can connect this and make this possible to see our hands. So you were able to toggle back and forth so we could see what someone was doing on a table instead of awkwardly holding it up and Vanna Whiting it. But there are ways to turn this to your main camera as well. Webcam is what I currently use at our library. I've linked, it's unfortunately Amazon links, but you can find them other places. We use the Logitech Pro web camera. It's got really high resolution. You can also use software to zoom yourself in and out, which this is not the webcam, but you get an idea of, you want to be able to frame yourself better. And what I'm personally using today, I have a DSLR camera that I was not using. It sat in a bag. You take it on the trip and then you don't use it and it sits there. There's a way that you can use an adapter. You can get a cheap one or an expensive one and turn that into your webcam, which is actually what I did. Now I'm OCD and trying to fix the camera. But being able to change your color settings on a DSLR, I can change my white balance so I don't look orange. So I personally have followed that path to make a better quality video. So not action. We did lights and we did camera. Action is that's not my thing. We can find someone who's better at doing, storytelling and visual and all that. Next is your dedicated microphone. Do not use the one built into your device. It will pick up every sound around you. How many people have an actual quiet space to record in and do your programs? There's always someone walking through. There's someone yelling in the background. There can be a cat or a dog if you're home, or it could be I don't know who that is if they could turn their microphone off. It can be a kid running through a programming space, which you didn't expect. So dedicated microphone, and you should always have headphones on too, because you'll get feedback otherwise. But I have some audio examples. They're not super clear. As I recorded these through Zoom because that's what a lot of us do. We record our programming in Zoom or video or editing. So I recorded these in Zoom. So earbuds with mic, these are the kinds of things that we, are small. They're really inexpensive. Actually, I used to have links to these, but I don't. But I'm going to give examples of earbuds with the mic that's in the side. This is a video with me using a earbud mobile headset. So it's clearer than it would be with the device just using its front-facing camera on a laptop. So the next one that I use specifically at the library for a lot of programming is a lavalier. You may recognize them with the fuzzy thing you stick on your collar. You never can get quite right. You'll get better at learning the placement on whatever shirt you're wearing or on your presenter shirt. So here's the audio on that. This is me recording with a lavalier microphone. It sounds a little less staticky around the edges. So if you want to have, it's more directional sound. So if you're doing something that's like a tutorial or things that you really want people to crisply hear, Lavalier is usually around $15. You just want to make sure it's a USB one if you're plugging it into a computer, because not all the mobile things will plug into your computer and get the audio. So just be aware that you usually want to have something that plugs in with the USB adapter on the end. Our library has Snowball Mics that we lend out in our lending kit program. They're about $50. They're a lot better. They have much better focused audio. I did not record with one, but 4 years ago, we had wanted to start podcasting. So we had invested in a Blue Yeti microphone. It's what streamers use. You hear the great audio quality. This is what I'm using right now. People joke that I have an NPR voice when I'm doing recordings. But I want to give you an audio example of what that sounds like as well, obviously other than here. This is me recording with a Blue Yeti microphone. You can play with gain on this. Gain means it gets rid of the sounds all around you so you can really dial in. So if you're, again, doing, you have a little bit more money, or you can borrow it from another library, you get the crispest sound. So, you do get what you pay for, but all of them do work. I personally use the Lavalier at the library. I do have a Blue Yeti at the library as well, but sometimes I can't get it the right height, and then it doesn't work as well for that. So how many of us have been using Zoom for all these things? And actually, I just realized I didn't do something. Hold on one second. I forgot to turn on my original audio. Anyway, what you would normally do is turn on your original audio to improve your audio quality. I forgot to do it. This is what happens. We're live, everyone. So there's a setting that you can do in your audio settings. Where you choose your headphones and your microphone. If you have one of the newer versions of Zoom, if you have an older laptop, that it doesn't update the same way. Under your test microphone, you can actually, you never want to have adjust automatically, because you'll get all sorts of things that happen to your mic that you may not be able to fix later. You can suppress background noise. So, that person with a lawnmower while you're recording in the morning or something else, you can remove that kind of. And also there's under that, a music and professional audio, where you can enable original sound, and then you'll see there's something at the top left of your screen that you can click original sound on. I forgot to do that. Hopefully my quality is pretty good today. When you get copies of the slides, I did put a link from Zoom on the instructions on how to turn on the original sound. So Teresa mentioned that we did a multi-library programming. I think we had 10 libraries, Highland Park, the Brunswicks, because we received an ALA grant for resilient communities. Libraries respond to climate change. And so we ended up trying to have it in different places. So not just Zoom, we wanted it on YouTube. So we ended up using StreamYard, but Andrew today is going to teach you a free solution on how to use OBS. And for the last part of my slides, what mic am I using now? I am using the Blue Yeti. I could switch over to the Lavalier, but it's hard to toggle back and forth for me. But yes, I am using a Blue Yeti now. I am leaning a little bit because I can't get mine high enough, but I have it right below my camera. So most of us shifted to online programming on Zoom or other live platforms, whether it was YouTube or Facebook. A lot of people went to Zoom, especially when the state library offered free rooms to libraries. That was a huge thing. I don't know if they're continuing that. Our library purchased accounts, but it doesn't have to be live, and you don't have to be on camera. I have learned to deal with looking at my face. Because of this, I also, our township has a TV station, and I would go on there a lot. So I've learned to just let it go. But pre-recorded on-demand programming allows you to also improve your production quality. If you say, or you get extremely nervous like I do, I've gotten better, breathing is helpful, but you can edit those things out and make something a better quality presentation. You can do that also when you've downloaded something, like Teresa will be downloading today for Library Link's new YouTube channel. You'll be able to, tweak and make edits. However, programming like podcasts and interviews can just be audio with video image layovers. That removes pressure on presenters who maybe aren't comfortable on camera. Podcasts are a great audio only platform, but you can put like cute little videos and slideshows over them and put them on your YouTube channel or other platforms where you put visual content. And one of the main things, especially when you are doing audio only, where people can't necessarily lip read, try to include closed captioning whenever possible. Zoom's isn't great, but it's better than nothing. We've used a company that actually does CART transcription, which is what the ADA compliant for the visually impaired, the hard of hearing and deaf use. They do live transcription, which is obviously expensive. It's a person with 98% accuracy. That's very helpful. And they can also caption videos you already have. They'll give you a file and it'll be compatible on YouTube and Facebook. And it's already timed and you don't have to do it. And that's much more reasonable and reasonably priced, but it's obviously after the fact. But that's going to be my section for now. I do have a few resources that'll be on the slides that'll be made available. I have examples of StreamYard, which we use for Option Green. I have a YouTube playlist that I set up for you guys if you want to watch. It is all environmental stuff, giving you a heads up. Most presentations are about 45 minutes long. You can click through and see what it looks like. You can bring questions up on screen. It's cool, but it is a paid option. Library Link has been having skill sharing conversations. I know that some of you have been joining us. Jonathan Upton's the other week, that was library created videos, has a lot of good tips that work well with this and complement. And I also did one on creating podcasts. You can subscribe to the EVPL Podcast Network on any podcasting app or on anchor.fm/EBP Library. I've been practicing my NPR voice, but definitely check it out. We have 5 to 10 minute episodes. You can get an idea of what we do with our on-demand programming like that. If you have any questions, you can email me at mhozick@ebpl.org. So thank you for joining me today. And we're going to learn a little bit about Andrew next.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I can't believe all those resources you shared in 15 minutes. So I'm definitely going to be rewatching this recording and writing things down. But now it's my pleasure to introduce Andrew Eason. His pronouns are he, him, his. Andrew is the head of adult services and YA services at the Plainfield Public Library. Andrew has worked in various circulation, reference, and management capacities in public libraries in the UK and US since 1997. His interests are technology for visual arts and music production, accompanying numerous other interests and skills in forming a range of programming and outreach capabilities. Qualifications include an MSc with distinction in information and library management, a PhD on the topic of artist books, and a BA honors in fine art, all from the University of the West of England, Bristol. So it's my pleasure to hand things over to Andrew Eason now. Thank you.
Hi folks, it's Andrew here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having the time to spend with me. We're going to talk about OBS, which is basically, it's a piece of software that you would use to enable presentations. And it allows you to put together different things in different ways and have them show up on the screen the way that you want them to do. So Melissa actually mentioned very briefly, she mentioned StreamYards. And it's a little bit like that. I think StreamYards is a little bit more user-friendly in some ways, and OBS is actually, it's the kind of the open source cousin of that, and it allows you in some ways to get a little bit more under the hood. So yeah, you can do all the same stuff with OBS, and as I'll kind of touch on a little bit later, it's actually also, as it's an open source thing, it has a community of people who are creating things for it all the time. So if there's something that you've thought of, either someone has made a plugin for it, or someone is probably working on a plugin for it, or there's some sort of quick and dirty way to make it do the thing you want it to do. So yeah, OBS is completely free. All the levels of it are completely free. There isn't like a starter version or a paid for version that's different. The trade-off with that is that you see everything at once. So it's a little bit like the difference between say Canva and Photoshop, in as much as it can be a little bit confusing because you can see all of the controls to do all of the things, including many things that you would never want to do. So what I would like to do today is look at some of the things that are kind of maybe most commonly used, and just introduce some of the kind of categories of tools and main ways of working that there are within OBS. So let me move on to one of my slides, and I think this will hopefully, oops, I got to get the focus actually on OBS here. There you So yeah, this was the one that I should have had on when I was talking to you about it. You can download OBS from that website just there, the obsproject.com. And as I say, it is completely free. So what OBS is allowing me to do is to put different things into the camera feed. And I just want to talk through that a little bit. So I'm using my webcam here. I'm not actually presenting my screen the same way that other people would be presenting their stream in Zoom, for example, because you can just present it. I mean, I can't present the screen, but what I'm doing is I'm piping things into the webcam. So as far as Zoom is concerned, it's only looking at my camera. What I'm doing is putting different things into this camera stream using OBS. And because I did it in OBS, I have total control over how all of it looks. I'm just moving that around just now. So you can see in my little, let's point that way, right? I've got like a little sort of stream flow there. So it goes, I've got the webcam and it's got the picture of me, and I can add all sorts of different goodies like graphic overlays or effects or texts. I can use multiple different cameras. I can use multiple different camera plugins and layouts. And that's all being put together within OBS. And it's producing what it calls a virtual camera. I'll actually show you where that is a little bit on the main screen in a second. What that means is that it packages everything up into a camera stream so that it becomes, as far as Zoom or anything else that's expecting to see a webcam, it becomes a web camera. So as far as Zoom is concerned, it has nothing to do with how I'm presenting this or how it looks. It's just seeing my camera. And that's for, you know, sort of services like Zoom and so on, where it's expecting to see a virtual camera. Sometimes you're doing something where it's expecting to see a stream, which is slightly different. So that's for things like when you're going live into Facebook Live or live into YouTube Live. And it can handle those things as well. So let me move on to this stream. And it's the same sort of general deal. You've got the webcam and it has the materials in it. It packages in whatever extras you want to use, and then it produces a stream that you can match up with the stream that your live webcast will be using. My note on there also says you can also simultaneously record your output in OBS, so that you have a record of your stuff. In case anything goes wrong, you can have a copy to upload later. So when we actually look at OBS, I'll point that out very briefly too. But with services like OBS, and I think probably StreamYards too, you can actually be recording what you're doing so that you kind of have a backup in case anything goes wrong, as it sometimes does. Occasionally I'm cursing out Facebook because something went wrong with the stream. But anyway, so moving on from that, I said that I would show you the thing live, and here it is live. I'm just going to spread that over so it's a little bit less crazy looking. And we have a sort of weird inception screen here where you can actually see all of the whole screen on OBS. So what I can do is actually, I can use OBS to capture my screen, obviously, which is what I'm doing now. And you can see me moving things around on the screen, see different parts of what actually is happening on my screen. So that means that if I want to demonstrate something else, obviously I can do that. That's fairly familiar to us if we're sharing screens in Zoom or whatever. I can also pick out individual windows to share and things like that. So actually we'll look at an example of picking out an individual window to show the very exciting world of Excel later on. But you know, it's just in basics, you can share windows on things. So right, so with this sort of weird inception screen thing going on here, it actually gets to be a little bit confusing. So we're actually just going to go over to just a screenshot of OBS instead, and that allows me to just show you the same stuff but in a slightly saner looking way. So you can see I've got two big red arrows there that point to a couple of things on the OBS screen. And in fact, I'm going to put my picture into the screen so it looks a little bit more like me on OBS. Wow. Okay. So OBS is organized into scenes and sources, and the rest are basically settings about how it handles those. Scenes, if you think of scenes as being a little bit like slides, and in fact, I'm kind of using scenes as slides here. Scenes are collections of various different sources. So if you think about it, if you were putting together like a PowerPoint slide, you could have an image, you could have some text, maybe you'd even have like a little interactive bit or something like that. So you can use the scenes in OBS to organize your different sources. So in this particular source, I've got a graphic of a picture of OBS. I'm going to just turn it on and off so you can see what it is. Oops, let's turn it off. Yeah, okay, so I'm just turning that graphic on and off there. And I've also got my live webcam, which I'm going to turn on and off. And obviously I've also got sound, which I could turn on and off, but I'm not going to do that because it gets weird. So yeah, we've got various different bits to it there. I'm talking about those scenes and those sources. There actually is a little bit more to it than that, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. Let's just move on to the next slide here, or the next source, I should say, actually. And it actually is doing the same thing. It's explaining what I was just saying, that we've got the scenes, which are collections of resources, and they're basically buttons which move you on from one scene to the next. You've got the sources, which are the collections of stuff, and you can switch them on and off with the little eyeball icon that's next to them. What I didn't go into is the fact that we have an audio mixer going on there. So I can actually say I've got an interviewee, or I'm doing something with multiple cameras, and I've got different audio sources, and maybe some of them are hotter than others, or maybe I want to turn one down, turn one up. I can do that with the controls here. And over on the right-hand side there, there's the controls section that allows me to do stuff like start the stream if I'm streaming. As you'll recall, we were talking about streaming in relation to things like YouTube and Facebook Live. We can also start and stop the virtual camera in case we're doing something like Zoom, where we're really just a camera. And we can start and stop recording, and there's other settings as well over there, but basically that's where we would do that. We can actually do several of those things at once. So I could be streaming, recording, and for some reason or other, using the virtual camera at the same time, and it would send all these things, different things out. Moving on. Oops, raced ahead of myself there. Let's look at one of the setups that I've got here. This is a wait screen that I use. So I've been doing basically mostly public domain books, but I've been doing an online serial, reading a live daily serial, and it goes out at a special particular time every day. It goes out at 2 p.m. and people will show up, and maybe they'll show up 5 minutes early and there's nothing to see. Well, I usually start at actually about 10 to 2, and I put the little wait screen on there that says it begins at 2 p.m. So here's the graphic here. Here's the various different things that I've assembled into it. You can see that I've got a graphic there. I've got other graphics superimposed on it. I have text, and I can, put it together in various different ways. So you can actually use OBS as a sort of design tool for that. There's actually a plugin for a countdown timer as well that I must get to grips with, but I haven't done that yet either. So where are we? Slide 6 there. So let's look a wee bit more at what that one is actually made up of. So I said it had you can see it says times there. There's where some of the writing is. There's the Dracula text. There's the logo, author. I actually have a couple of different options for the graphic that goes there. I think I've got the Eclipse graphic has got the visibility sign on there. There's also another one where I had another picture of like Whitby, Abbey, and Fog, which was also Dracula appropriate. But I can switch them up so that I can make it more interesting, because we have, I think we're on like episode 19 or something today. So it switches things up nicely, and you can have different bits and pieces in it. So let's see. When you've got the different scenes in there, you can change things around, and you can kind of direct things almost as if they were live. And in fact, that is really what you're doing. You're directing your live output. So yeah, actually, this is the scene that I've got for when I'm actually doing the reading live. And it changes things around a little bit. I've got like a little graphic that tells people where they can see the rest of the episodes and all the other stuff that goes into that. Let's move on, because I think I'm running a little bit low on time. So this is my live webcam. Obviously, you can just see me. So I'm just going to demonstrate like sort of putting some other materials into it. So apart from anything else, I can have multiple cameras, which let me just make sure that I've woken this one up. And we'll get that going. Okay. So I've got actually my iPhone attached to the screen as well. So let's bring that one up. And I have here's my hand here. I have a live camera going with that, and I can, you know, kind of move this around and have it take up different parts of the screen live if I want to do it. Or I can make myself smaller. Let me see, where's my Mac webcam? And move myself up to the side so that you can still see me a bit, but maybe I'm doing a demonstration on this and sort of turning things, turning pages, telling people about stuff. Okay, but I can also, and let me bring this guy back. I can also do other fun stuff, like I can superimpose things on top of stuff if I want to have like little graphics and things like that going on. I can have various different, you can't see this very well because it's over a dark light background, but I can have like animated GIFs going on, or equally I could actually show movies into this. So let's make him go away because he is kind of an annoying graphic. So equally, yeah, I could have other movies playing into this if I was like doing something that was kind of maybe I had like a documentary presentation and I wanted to have materials firing into this that were from other sources, or you know, kind of combine things in different ways and kind of put together almost like a program. And I can, one of the beauties of that is that I can actually go out live with it. So I don't have to do any editing on that. If I've actually prepared, and again, this analogy of my slideshow, if I've prepared things in that way, I can, you know, organize things such that I don't need to do any editing afterwards. So moving on again. As I said, I think I actually kind of covered this when I was talking. These are the controls, which are, they were down on the right-hand side of the screen for OBS. Let me just do that quick. You can see they were down there on that right-hand side there. It's got the streaming, recording, virtual camera, and so on, and you can engage all of these as and when you need to use them. I said that we would be exciting and have an Excel demo as well. One of the reasons that I might want to do a recording on this as opposed to streaming is that, so sometimes I'm managing staff and I want to do like a quick technology demo for them. And it's something simple where I don't really need to be there to like teach people things. So maybe I can make just a little quick film with this, and so I can do like a quick Excel demo. Let me go over to Excel now, and we'll work on Excel Live, and I'm going to show them how I would, add up a column with an auto sum. There we go. So I could narrate through that and tell people how it worked, and it would save me, you know, kind of visiting around people. I mean, that's a very basic example, obviously, but it kind of gets the idea across that I can use things within OBS to do more than just like presentations for the public. I can also use it as a tool for other things. Wrapping up more or less now, I did mention that OBS is actually open source. So there's actually a very big community of people putting together all sorts of wacky, wonderful things that are plugins for it. So it does all sorts of wonderful stuff that I haven't really covered at all here. But you know, do know that it exists. And in my slide there, I have a little note that it's also, it's very heavily sponsored as well. So this isn't a product that's free because it's, you know, sharing your details willy-nilly with people. It's free because it's supported by YouTube and Facebook, which isn't encouraging itself, but it is an open source project, and it does have a sort of visible means of support, if that matters. So yeah, thanks very much for having me. I enjoy talking about OBS. I do love to do kind of problem solving things, especially if I can fix it. So if anybody has any questions about OBS, or, you know, kind of wants to get into it more, please do drop me a line. My details are just up there if you want to do so. Thanks again. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this introduction to OBS. I wasn't familiar really with this product, and there seems like there are just so many possibilities. I do have to say, in addition to your presentation, I really enjoyed your drawings. Those are really fun. They added a lot to the slides. So thanks again. And just so you know, the contact information for all the presenters will be in the final slide as well, and everyone will get the slides. So at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Karen Jarzabski. Pronouns she, her. Karen is the Youth Services Librarian at the Highland Park Public Library. Karen has worked at Highland Park Public Library for 11 years and is passionate about providing high quality programming for youth of all ages, even in the midst of a pandemic. Whether it be presenting virtual story times on Facebook Live or developing a series of virtual New Jersey Makers Day events, she tries to use the virtual platform to her advantage. So at this point, I'm going to pass over the mic to Karen Jarzabski. Thanks again to Andrew.
All right, thank you, Teresa. So I'm feeling a bit intimidated because I don't think I'm quite as technical as everybody that just went before me, but I'm going to do my best. So I was faced with an interesting problem. I got a mini grant from New Jersey Makers Day, and I had to do it entirely virtual. And I had written in the grant to get, like a little coding robot and all of these certain things. And I'm like, how am I going to get, hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop sharing because I have to get my slides here. Sorry. Oops. There we go. Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really botching this. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, all right, here we go. So how can we provide a hands-on robotic coding when participants can't physically touch the robot? So I came up, and I think Melissa kind of mentioned this earlier. This was my setup. And I'm going to, I'm going to put my Botly on now, my Botly screen on. I'm going to start the video. So the main thing to do is you need to spotlight the phone's video on Zoom. So my phone is on. I'm going to spotlight it now. Spotlight for everyone. So I'm going to stop my share. So let me get it centered. All right. So the next step, so I toggled back and forth between spotlighting I had this all set up, and now it's, as you can see, things don't have to be perfect, especially when it's for people who don't know any better. Don't be intimidated. So you're going to spotlight that. And then what I did was I created some slides with the Botly resources that were free online. So let me share my screen again so that you can see. So here is the puzzle that we had. And I created, slides that we could then manipulate. So the main thing is you need to know how to use remote control to give participants access to your screen. So up at the top, when you're sharing your screen, you're going to see this bar. There's a little icon that says remote control. If you click on that, it's going to give you a drop down, and you can choose who to give remote access to. In order to do this, you need to make sure that your settings in Zoom are set to allow this. So go into your Zoom account settings and choose allow remote controlling. During screen sharing, the person who is sharing can allow others to control the shared content. So make sure that that is switched on to blue. Otherwise, you're not going to see that option, the remote control option. So then it's time to code. So I thought it would be really fun if we did a little bit of coding. I have my Botley all set up and ready to go. I have my remote control. So if I could get a participant, so what we'll do is we'll decide what directions Botley needs to go. And when I give someone remote control of my screen, they're going to be able to manipulate these coding cards and tell me, you know, what to do with the robot, and then I will physically put it in. So do I have any volunteers that would be interested in coding? Can raise your hand, or I can also share with, we can start out with Melissa, since I already see her on here. So Melissa, I'm going to give you remote access to my screen, and we are going to, so I just gave her remote access. So she can actually manipulate these little coding cards here. So you can see our little robot, and we want to get him to this cone here. So what would be the first step? Oh, she's on it. Right turn. Very good, Melissa. Does anybody, oh, she is fast. So I am not
my first rodeo.
So I am not touching the mouse. Melissa just did the first 2 moves, but we need to get him all the way there. So would anybody else like to do the next steps? We need to use 5 coding cards. Melissa did the first 2. Let me give, oops. Let's see, I am going to give, I'm going to pick somebody. I am going to give.
Someone raised their hand.
Oh, somebody raised their hand. Oh, yes, Anna. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Yes. I'm glad that you raised your hand. Okay. I wish that they were in alphabetical order. That would be cool. But no, here you are. Okay. All right, Anna. So you should get a thing on your screen that allows you to control. There we go. Okay. Forward. And then what else? Okay, we're going to try it. And let's see what, oh wait, we need 1 more. We need 5. What do you think? All right, you want to try it like this? Okay, let's see what happens. So now I'm going to stop my share. Okay, and I am going to input the code. And let's see if Botley, wake him up, he's been sleeping, can do it. So I'm going to put in right, and then straight, 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 and let's see if he does. Okay, so he went off screen. So that was not correct. So we're gonna erase. I knew that this wasn't right. Don't worry, but I wanted to show you as part of this. As part of this, you know, we're all adults, but it's still fun. You know, it's problem solving. When I was doing it with the kids, we did not get it right every time. I did not tell them that they were not getting it right. I let them do it. I put it in. Exactly. Mistakes are part of learning. I put it in for them and we did it. And it made it even more rewarding when Botley finally got to where he needed to go. By the end of the event, we were like all cheering. It was ridiculous. So we're going to put Botley back at the start, erase that code. So we can try again. Does anybody else? I'm gonna share my screen again so we can have another try. I'm gonna share again. Okay, does anybody else? You can raise your, oh, 2 participants raise their hand. Okay, all righty, let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Oops, where did the people go that raised their hand? Can you raise your hand again? I don't know where it went. I'm sorry. Raise your hand again. We want it to go. Okay. I am going to choose Taylor Jennings because I missed who raised their hand. Taylor, you're on the spot. What do you think the first move should be? Are you there, Taylor? No? Okay, so she must not be there. Okay. There we go. I'm seeing people raise
You
their
have a few others. Yeah, you have
I know.
Anna, Vera,
Thank you.
Ocean
I know.
County Library.
I'm seeing people raise their hand, but then it like disappears. Okay. Let's get you there. Really wish these were in alphabetical order. Be easier to find them. Oh, there's Vera. Okay, Vera. Do you want to give it a shot? You can do all 5. Okay. So we want the robot to go this way, or I'm gonna let you do it. Which way do you think he needs to turn? We'll have one last try. Yeah. That's how we started last time. And did it work? Very good. Okay. All right, let's try another left turn. There we go. All right, let's try it. Okay, I'm gonna input it and let's see, I'm gonna stop my share. All right, so, oops. Okay, we're gonna do left turn, straight, left turn, straight, right turn. Okay. All right, you didn't quite make it. Let's just do a few adjustments. I'm gonna share my screen again. This time I'm just gonna do it so that we get him successfully to the end. So we're gonna do left turn, straight, left turn, straight, and then straight. And it's a little bit of a learning curve. I've, messed around with Botley a lot. So, all right, so we're gonna go left, straight, left, straight, straight. All right, here you go. Oops, I'm so sorry. I didn't stop my share. All right, he made it. Yay. All right. So this is not super high tech, like I said. My production quality is probably not as high as others, but I think it's good to show that it doesn't have to be, don't be intimidated. I was intimidated when I first started. I also made it so that my participants could make their own puzzles and I would then set it up, and then we solved the puzzles that they came up with. You can do this sort of thing with all different types of programming. So I did the same thing for another STEM program. I had these marble runs and I had my camera set up to be on my magnetic board. And I had them, telling me, I took pictures of all of the cards, the puzzle cards, and put them into Google Slides. And then I took pictures of everything and was able to have them make up their own puzzles. And then I built them on the board and we saw how they worked. So yeah, so that's my presentation, just how, I kind of problem solved and used just kind of simple things, like just a tripod, my phone, and, the Zoom features to do some STEM programming. I hope you guys had fun coding with me. So don't be intimidated to try different things, even with the little ones. I also do story times all the time, but I thought I'd try and focus on something a little bit different for this presentation. So yeah, so thank you. I'm gonna stop sharing and unspotlight my Botley, because he doesn't need to be spotlighted anymore. Okay. No, it was supposed to hit the cone. That was the end point.
Hit the
It was
cone.
it was supposed to hit the cone. That was the goal.
Thanks so much, Karen. That was really fun.
Oh, thank you.
That was really, I like that a lot. And I like the balance of everybody's presentation. So we have a few minutes to go here. We are scheduled until 11. So at this point, if you want to add any questions to the chat window, I can ask, I can present them to the panelists if we want to share anything now. Does anyone have any questions about the presentation? Okay, check out the recording later. Okay, so I'm going to send an email to everybody immediately after this. It's going to have a brief survey along with links to some of our future LibraryLinkNJ programs. I just need a few minutes to edit the video before I send it out. Oh, okay, I see that Anna said, Andrew talked about using OBS Studio for previews before a program. Are there other tools people use? So I guess this is a question for Andrew.
I guess so. Is my answer to that. I mean, I use OBS for it, as I say. I believe other people use StreamYard. There are other kind of stream management things in there. I mean, really, when I'm saying that there's like a wait screen for it, all it is I'm just like waiting on slide 1. It's not a special technology in any particular way. So really anything that sort of managed your screen would do it. If you wanted to do this, like, I mean, suppose for example, like, no, this is a bad example. Right, I mean, if you had some way of like sharing your screen while you were doing like a live webcast, all you would need to do would be like have a graphic that had that weight on it. And you could just leave things on that graphic, and then, you know, when the time came, you would just change the view onto something else. That doesn't really answer your question about other services that might do it, because to be honest with you, I haven't investigated a whole bunch of other ones. Really, I've just used OBS, but it is just a thing that allows you to just kind of wait on that one placeholder slide, essentially, whilst whilst the time comes. And yes, I do use OBS with Zoom. I'm using it right now.
Okay, let's see. There was a question about it looks like the Botley was reversed. Is that right? Let me see what the rest of that question was. It looks like the Botley was reversed on the screen. So left looked like right. Did I not see this correctly? Okay, let's see. I think that's right.
I don't know. Now I'm wondering. And I already cleaned it up. I'm quick with the cleanup. I already cleaned it up. And now I'm wondering if I do apologize if I set you guys up for failure. I don't know why it would have been reversed. I thought I did it exactly the same as it was on the screen, but I don't remember having that issue when I did it with, oh, it was mirrored. Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
you're just trying to make an extra challenge. You're trying to really challenge us.
Smart people. Why are they taking the wrong turn? Like, this is, so I do apologize for that. I don't know. In a presentation that's supposed to be about video production, I clearly did something wrong. So I do apologize. I will look into why that was the case. But I guess I just made it extra challenging for you. So I do apologize.
This is real. This is real life. This is what happens on the job. So
now I'm really regretting cleaning up already. I already put Botley back in the box. But yeah, so it can, you know, I'm sure the kids would have been yelling at me if I did that with them. So you guys are just too polite. The kids would have been like, Miss Karen, it's wrong, it's backwards, and I would have fixed it. You guys were just like, oh, maybe this is what's supposed to happen. So next time, yell at me. But yeah, so these things do happen. I do apologize. But yeah, so life goes on. There's the lesson.
So Jonathan says he uses OBS to record staff-only webinars and tutorials, which I both feed into Zoom and also record locally. The recorded quality is usually much higher than I would get through Zoom. Okay, so that's another good reason why we should all check out OBS. Okay. Green screen and OBS. Okay, so Andrew says green screen and OBS. It will handle chroma key. Yes, you'll need a green screen though. Andrew, did you want to say more about that?
Sorry, very beginner mistake. Oh dear. Yes, OBS can do green screen, but we're familiar with the sort of virtual green screen that Zoom provides, which is a different technology, and it's possible because of the fact that Zoom is going out to giant computers in the sky. Because we're just sending out a stream from our ordinary laptops, it's kind of a bit of heavy lifting to get that to happen instantly on your ordinary computer. So yes, it does green screen, but it does traditional green screen. It does chroma key. You'll need an actual green screen behind you for it to work. And it can do that. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Lana said we got to get a Botley soon. Yeah, those look fun. Okay, let's see.
It is fun. Just make sure you don't do it opposite.
You can get a green screen for under $20, Melissa says. Can you do animations with OBS?
That's an interesting question. I mean, there are a couple of different ways to look at that. I mean, I can do, can you pin me for a second? I can do stuff like, I was for a second, but I went away again, I think. I can do stuff like move things around on the screen, obviously. Oops, I'm trying to click on Zoom, dear me. Where's OBS gone? I made OBS go small so that I would not be confused by it later. Where is OBS gone? There it is. I can like physically, I know what you mean by animation, but I'm going to approach it in a couple of different ways. I can physically move things around on the screen and kind of create animation effects live. I'm actually just doing this with the mouse while I'm talking. But I can also, let me see, I've got the one with the extras here. I can also include things like this animated GIF that I've got going on. Let me make myself disappear for a second. This is an animated GIF. So yes, this is an animation, but I made it in, what's it called? Procreate. So you would make animations in other software. Go away, annoying duck. And bring it into OBS. So it's not a piece of animation software. I can't program things so that they will like sort of move around on the screen in an organized way. If I wanted to have like a looped animation, like say I wanted to pretend I was dizzy, I could make a looped animation of like stars going around my head or something like that. And so long as it was just like, it was a static animation, that would be fine. I hope that kind of answers the question. I mean, if I try and elaborate on that anymore, it'll just get kind of confusing, but yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. There's just one final question. We have like 2 minutes. For story times, is there a simple program where you can show the screen, show page turning and add the narrative reading that's no or low cost? Thank you. So I guess that could be for any of you, or probably Karen.
Honestly, I think that Andrew would be better because it seems like I have not done that. I just do the old school, I just hold up the book and show it to the screen. But it seems like what Andrew is showing, you could do that with. So I'm going to leave it up to him.
But also, you can do that in Zoom, Karen, like what you did showing your spotlight and everything. You can do that too, where you have the second, you can have that down, you can have the book there, and you can record in Zoom for free when you're by yourself.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, you can use my little handy phone on the tripod and log your phone into Zoom situation that I showed you with the Botley. I do my story times on Facebook Live, so rather than Zoom, so I haven't used that. But yeah, if you use Zoom, you can absolutely do what I did with the Botley. So yeah.
Yeah, just unpinned myself there. I don't know if anybody can see what I'm doing just now. I've gotten a bit confused with it now. This is my phone that I have going on just now, and obviously I had it pointing at the book before. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to show this part of things, but I have this little sort of gooseneck contraption here that will hold on to my phone, and it just attaches to the table like that. I think this was about $20, and the phone just goes in here. It's spring loaded like that, and I can, oops, let me get it in here, and I can just have it going on like that. The focus has gone a bit wild there, but you get the general concept. That it's pretty easy just to have the phone going on with OBS, and you can put things in that way. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you so much, Andrew. At this point, we're right at 11 o'clock. I'm going to stop. Thank you so much to our presenters for providing this wealth of information. There's so much to look back at and explore. Everyone will get these slides, which has everyone on the presenter emails at the end. I'll also be emailing everybody a survey with some links to some future LibraryLinkNJ programming. And please feel free to send me your suggestions for future services and programs for LibraryLinkNJ. We appreciate your time and thanks for being here. Have a great day. Bye-bye.